Hello, my name is Jay. I am a cool gift guru and a real person too. I love getting feedback, so please do not hesitate to leave comments, and if you have any queries about any of the items we feature, please do not be hesitant to ask. I'd enjoy going over them in great detail with you. Why get a kid an Arduino or a Raspberry Pi? There are many reasons for getting a child involved in Arduino or Raspberry Pi. Arduinos and Raspberry Pis are open-source electronics prototyping platforms based on flexible, easy-to-use hardware and software. It's intended for artists, designers, hobbyists, and anyone interested in creating interactive objects or environments. The benefits of learning coding. In terms of learning, I believe that programming and microcontrollers will assist in developing a child's brain in a new way. They can construct several creative prototypes and learn the idea of programming, which aids in the development of logical thinking and reasoning. It is like learning a new language, where the skills that are developed with it can be applied to create something currently useful. It may be hard at first to learn the basics of programming, but once your child gets the hang of it, it could be quite beneficial in their future. I personally believe that children should start as early as possible. So, as they say, the earlier you start, the better. Buying coding kits is the way to go. To avoid frustration and wasted time, buy a kit. Kits are preferred over individual parts because every project needs to be planned out, and if you get a kit you have everything you need to get started. Arduino and Raspberry Pis are free to use, which helps children in learning programming without spending lots of money. As Arduino and Raspberry Pi is an open-source platform, it has a community of developers across the world who are ready to help beginners by providing their knowledge and experience related to coding projects. What are the benefits of Raspberry Pi? For simple programming, the Raspberry Pi does not need any software installation, because it has a built-in operating system. The cost is comparable to that of an Arduino. It has a team of enthusiastic developers all around the world who are continuously developing new capabilities for beginners. The Raspberry Pi kits may be obtained at low cost on Amazon and other internet retailers. Here's how a Raspberry Pi works. A Raspberry Pi is a single board computer the size of a credit card. It has USB ports for attaching keyboards, mice, Wi-Fi dongles, game controllers, and flash drives. It can run a full range of ARM-based Linux distributions as well as more obscure operating systems such as OpenELEC or RISC-OS. The Raspberry Pi is made in the UK, and has been hugely successful. 2 million boards were sold by February 2015, and many millions are now in the hands of children and adults. Raspberry Pi offers a wide range of accessories at reasonable prices. The high-end kits come with the programming so you don't have to spend hours writing all it from scratch. What are the advantages of using a Pi? The pros include that they're simple to set up and use, which helps you save time. Robotics, weather monitoring, and other electronics projects are all possible with Raspberry Pi. What are the benefits of Arduino? It is an open-source hardware platform, which means that you can always take the help of online communities to solve your problems as well. And you can do almost any of the same projects that are on a Raspberry Pi. Arduinos tend to be a little cheaper than a Raspberry Pi. You can learn programming logic by using Arduino in a less time span because it's mainly used with electronic project boards. It offers simple circuits for beginners to minimize their frustrations in learning processes. On Arduinos, you'll need to install an IDE. The main distinction between an Arduino and a Raspberry Pi is that the former does not include an operating system, so you'll need a laptop or smartphone to download and run the IDE, which you use to write your program. Then upload the code to an Arduino with a USB cable. So Arduino or Raspberry Pi? Whether you go with a kit or individual parts, make sure it includes a breadboard. A breadboard is a basic gadget that allows you to construct circuits without the need for soldering. They are available in a variety of sizes, and their shape varies. So, no matter which one you pick, you won't be doing wrong. I believe that both have advantages and drawbacks. Depending on the project, a designer will most likely utilize both. As a result, it does not make a difference which one you begin with. Books to get started with a microcontroller. If you have time, it would be well worth it to pick up a decent programming book or tutorial for beginners. A book for both would be Arduino and Raspberry Pi Sensor Projects for the Evil Genius is a book that will teach you how to build projects with an Arduino and Raspberry Pi. Recommended Teen Arduino books. Getting Started with Arduino, the open source electronics prototyping platform and Arduino project handbook. 25 practical projects to get you started are two of the best Arduino friendly titles for teens. And some recommended books for Raspberry Pi would be Creative Projects with Raspberry Pi is a good book for absolute beginners. It contains all the information you need to start creating projects with your Raspberry Pi immediately. Liam Clark's Raspberry Pi 4 book includes the things that every novice needs to know and will help you further your skills. It's never too soon. It's never too soon to introduce a child to Arduino or Raspberry Pi. As we mentioned, both of these open source electronics prototyping platforms offer an array of benefits that will get your kid thinking like a programmer and developing practical skills they'll need for their future careers. A kit is the best way to get started because it includes everything you need for all of the projects covered in the kit. Make sure your kid has a breadboard and pick up some beginner guidebooks while you're at it.